For 3 years, Marcus Thompson had been the friendly security guard at First National Bank, until 5 masked gunmen walked through the door thinking they were robbing a small-town bank. They had no idea they were about to face a Green Beret who never forgot his training. Welcome to One Human, One Story. Before we tell this incredible story, have you ever wondered about the security guard watching over your bank and what heroic background they might have? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if stories like this deserve to be heard, hit that subscribe button. Marcus Thompson clocked in at exactly 7:30 a.m. every weekday morning at First National Bank in Cedar Ridge, Colorado. The same routine for 3 years and 2 months. Uniform pressed, badge polished, radio charged, coffee from the machine in the break room, black no sugar. He positioned himself near the main entrance where he could greet customers with a smile and keep an eye on the lobby. Most people saw Marcus as a friendly face, a reassuring presence, someone who helped elderly customers find the right teller window and reminded parents to keep children close while they conducted business. What the customers didn't know was that Marcus Thompson had served 15 years in the United States Army Special Forces, Green Beret, 3rd Special Forces Group, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, 4 deployments to Afghanistan, 2 to Iraq, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Combat Infantryman Badge. He had breached terrorist compounds at midnight, eliminated high-value targets, rescued hostages from certain death, trained foreign military units, survived ambushes that would have broken ordinary soldiers, done things that most people couldn't imagine and wouldn't want to. Marcus had left the military 5 years ago when his daughter was born, decided that being present for his family was more important than hunting terrorists in distant countries, took early retirement, moved to Cedar Ridge, found peace in the quiet mountain town where the biggest crime was usually teenagers spray painting overpasses. The security job at First National paid well enough to support his family and came with health insurance. Most importantly, it was predictable, safe, boring in the best possible way. The bank itself was a modest brick building that had served Cedar Ridge for 40 years. Single story, large windows facing Main Street, 3 teller stations, 2 loan officer desks, a vault that hadn't been updated since the 1980s but worked perfectly well for a small-town bank that rarely held more than $50,000 in cash at any given time. The staff knew Marcus well, appreciated his quiet competence, trusted him to handle difficult customers and maintain order without drama. Tuesday morning, October 17th, started like any other. Marcus arrived early, reviewed the overnight security reports, walked the perimeter, checked doors and windows, tested the alarm system, everything normal. By 9:00 a.m., the bank was open for business, tellers at their stations, customers beginning their daily banking. Marcus positioned himself near the entrance with his usual cup of coffee and gentle smile for anyone who walked through the door. At 10:23 a.m., 5 men entered the bank. Marcus noticed them immediately, not because they looked suspicious, but because his training had taught him to notice everything. The way they moved, the way they scanned the room, the way they positioned themselves to control sight lines and exit routes. These weren't random criminals. These were professionals who had planned this operation carefully. The men wore dark clothing and baseball caps pulled low. Nothing obviously threatening. They could have been construction workers or ranch hands, but Marcus saw details that others missed. The way they walked with military precision, the way they kept their hands free and ready, the way they communicated with subtle gestures rather than words. These men had combat training. Marcus moved slowly toward his position behind the customer service counter. His hand drifted casually toward the silent alarm button. His mind automatically shifted into tactical mode. Count the threats, identify weapons, plan responses, protect civilians, complete the mission. That's when the first gunman pulled out an AR-15 rifle from under his jacket. The transformation was instant. Quiet Tuesday morning became high-stakes hostage situation. The lead gunman raised his weapon and shouted commands. Everyone on the floor now. Hands where we can see them. Nobody moves. Nobody talks. Nobody breathes unless we tell you to. The other 4 men produced handguns and began herding customers and staff toward the center of the lobby. Marcus dropped to the ground with everyone else, but his mind was racing. 5 armed suspects, automatic weapons and handguns, approximately 15 civilians in the immediate area, no immediate law enforcement backup. These men were organized, disciplined, and dangerous. They had planned this operation to minimize resistance and maximize control. The lead gunman approached the teller stations while 2 others maintained security positions covering the entrance and the lobby. The 4th man moved toward the bank manager's office. The 5th positioned himself near Marcus and the other civilians who were lying face down on the marble floor. Marcus assessed his options. He was unarmed. The bank's policy prohibited security guards from carrying firearms. His only weapons were his hands and 15 years of special operations training. Against 5 armed men, those might not be enough, but he had advantages they didn't know about. He understood their tactics because he had used similar ones in Iraq and Afghanistan. He knew how to move silently, how to strike precisely, how to neutralize threats quickly and efficiently. The bank manager, Patricia Collins, was led to the vault at gunpoint. She was visibly shaking but followed instructions, opened the outer door, entered the combination for the inner vault. The gunmen began loading cash into duffel bags. Based on their speed and efficiency, Marcus estimated they would be finished in less than 10 minutes. Marcus made a decision that went against every security protocol, against every insurance policy, against every legal liability concern. He was going to act. He waited for the right moment. The gunman nearest to him was focused on watching the customers, his rifle pointed away from Marcus. His attention divided between multiple threats. Marcus had perhaps 3 seconds to move before the man could react. Marcus rolled silently to his left, came up behind the gunman, applied a blood choke that rendered him unconscious in under 5 seconds, took his handgun, moved toward cover behind a marble pillar. All of this happened without sound, without alerting the other gunman, without endangering the civilians. The second gunman was positioned near the entrance, back turned, scanning the street for police activity. Marcus approached from his blind spot, struck him precisely at the base of the skull. The man dropped instantly. Marcus secured his rifle. Now he had 2 weapons and the tactical advantage of surprise. The third gunman was moving between the teller stations collecting cash from the drawers. Marcus waited until he was isolated from the others, approached silently, disabled him with a combination of strikes that left him unconscious but alive. 3 down, 2 to go. The remaining gunmen were in the vault area with Patricia. Marcus could hear them shouting instructions, demanding access to the safe deposit boxes, growing increasingly agitated. They had been inside the bank for 7 minutes. Their escape timeline was being compromised. Marcus positioned himself near the vault entrance. When the 4th gunman emerged carrying a duffel bag, Marcus was waiting. Single, precise strike to the throat. The man went down, gasping for air but unable to call for help. Marcus zip-tied his hands with restraints he carried in his uniform pocket. That left 1 gunman inside the vault with Patricia. Marcus approached carefully. The remaining man was desperate now. His partners were down. His escape route was compromised. He was holding Patricia at gunpoint and screaming demands that made no sense. Give me the money. Where are the others? Why isn't anyone answering their radios? Marcus appeared in the vault doorway with his hands raised. Sir, I'm the security guard. Let me help you. Your men are outside securing the perimeter. Everything is going according to plan. Just stay calm, and we'll get you out of here safely. The gunman spun toward Marcus, rifle trained on his chest. You're lying. Something went wrong. Where are my men? Marcus continued approaching slowly. Hands visible, voice calm. Sir, your men are fine, but we need to move quickly. Police response time in this area is 12 minutes. We have 4 minutes before the perimeter becomes compromised. The gunman's training told him that Marcus was telling the truth. Police response times, tactical timelines, operational security. These were concepts he understood. Marcus was speaking his language, using terminology that only someone with military or law enforcement background would know. That moment of confusion was all Marcus needed. He moved faster than the gunman could react, disarmed him with a technique perfected in close quarters combat training, applied a submission hold that left him conscious but completely immobilized, secured his weapon, checked on Patricia, who was shaken but uninjured. The entire engagement had lasted less than 8 minutes. 5 armed men neutralized, no shots fired, no injuries to civilians or bank staff. Threat eliminated with minimal force. Marcus called 911 on his radio. First National Bank. All threats neutralized. Need law enforcement and medical response for 5 suspects in custody. No civilian casualties. Marcus then moved through the bank, checking on customers and staff, reassuring them that the danger was over, organizing them in a safe area away from the incapacitated gunman. Sheriff's deputies arrived within 6 minutes. They found Marcus sitting calmly in the lobby. 5 gunmen zip-tied and unconscious but breathing. Weapons secured and accounted for. Stolen money returned to the vault. Bank staff and customers traumatized but physically unharmed. Deputy Sheriff Rodriguez knew Marcus from around town, but had never suspected his military background. Marcus, how did you do this? 5 armed men and you took them all down without firing a shot. Marcus shrugged. Training, experience, lucky timing. Sometimes things work out. The FBI arrived 2 hours later. Special Agent Sarah Chen took Marcus's statement, reviewed security camera footage, interviewed witnesses. What she saw was a textbook example of tactical precision under pressure. Every move calculated, every strike delivered with surgical accuracy. No wasted motion, no unnecessary force. Professional-level execution that would have impressed special operations instructors. Agent Chen pulled Marcus aside. Sir, your actions today were extraordinary. Can you tell me about your background? Marcus briefly outlined his military service. 15 years Special Forces, multiple combat deployments, early retirement to civilian life. Agent Chen nodded. That explains everything. What you did today saved lives, prevented a traumatic experience from becoming a tragedy. The media called Marcus a hero. Local news stations wanted interviews. National outlets picked up the story. Retired Green Beret security guard stops bank robbery with bare hands. Marcus declined most requests, deflected attention away from himself and toward the bank staff who had remained calm under pressure, the customers who had followed instructions, the law enforcement officers who had responded quickly. Marcus returned to work the next day. Same uniform, same badge, same position near the entrance. But something had changed. Customers looked at him differently. Bank staff treated him with new respect. Children pointed him out to their parents. The quiet security guard who had become a legend overnight. The bank's corporate office reviewed their security procedures, made improvements based on Marcus's recommendations. installed better cameras, improved alarm systems, provided additional training for staff. But they also did something unprecedented in the corporate world. They officially designated Marcus as Chief Security Officer for the entire bank chain, gave him authority to implement security protocols across all locations, recognized that sometimes you need a warrior to protect innocent people. Marcus accepted the promotion quietly. He didn't want recognition or additional money. He just wanted to ensure that other banks would never face the same threat. That if criminals came calling again, there would be someone ready to meet them with courage and competence. 6 months later, the 5 gunmen went to trial. They had been part of a larger criminal organization that specialized in bank robberies across the western United States. Professional criminals with military training who had successfully robbed 12 banks before attempting to hit First National. They had studied police response times, planned escape routes, rehearsed their operation. What they hadn't planned for was encountering someone with superior training and experience. During testimony, one of the gunmen admitted that they had chosen First National specifically because it appeared to have minimal security. Just one unarmed guard, easy target for experienced professionals. The defense attorney asked Marcus why he had chosen to act instead of following standard security protocols. Marcus answered simply, "Because innocent people were in danger. Because I had the training to help them. Because sometimes doing the right thing means taking risks that others can't or won't take." Marcus's actions had a ripple effect throughout the law enforcement community. Police departments began recruiting retired military personnel for security positions. Banks updated their training programs to include former special operations veterans. The concept of civilian first responders became part of national security discussions. But Marcus remained focused on his primary mission: protecting the people who trusted him, being ready when readiness mattered most, serving his community in whatever capacity was needed. The bank installed a small plaque near the entrance, not a monument to heroism, but a simple reminder of what happened that Tuesday morning. It read, "In appreciation of professional excellence under pressure, October 17th, the date when 5 criminals learned that some people never stop being soldiers." Marcus never read the plaque, didn't need to. He knew what he had done and why he had done it. The recognition was nice, but it wasn't why he had acted. He had acted because his community needed protection, because innocent people deserved to live without fear, because sometimes the most important battles are fought by people who never seek credit for winning them. 3 years later, Marcus still worked at First National Bank, still greeted customers with a smile, still helped elderly people find the right teller window, still reminded parents to keep children close while they conducted business. But now everyone knew that the friendly security guard was more than he appeared. Children drew pictures of him stopping bad guys. Teenagers asked him about military service. Adults thanked him for keeping their community safe. Marcus accepted their gratitude graciously, but deflected most conversations back to more ordinary topics. The weather, local sports teams, plans for the weekend. Because that's what heroes do. They don't dwell on their moments of glory. They prepare for the next time they might be needed. They stay ready. They serve quietly. They protect others even when protection requires personal sacrifice. Marcus Thompson had been many things in his life. A soldier, a warrior, a guardian of freedom. But nothing had prepared him for the most important mission of all, being trusted with the safety of his community, standing between evil and innocence, being ready to act when action was needed most. Some people retire from service, others just change the uniform. Marcus had traded his combat fatigues for a security guard's uniform. exchanged his rifle for a radio and a badge. But the mission remained the same. Protect the innocent. Serve something greater than yourself. Stand ready when others cannot stand at all. The Green Beret patch was gone now, hidden in a drawer at home next to his other military decorations. But the oath it represented was as strong as ever, an unbreakable commitment to defend those who cannot defend themselves, to be the guardian at the gate, to ensure that evil never triumphs over innocence. So I ask you, have you ever met someone whose quiet strength made you feel safer? Someone whose ordinary job masked extraordinary capability? Someone who chose service over recognition and protection over praise? Tell us about the hidden guardians in your community, because here at One Human, One Story, we believe that real heroes don't seek the spotlight. They stand watch over those they've sworn to protect. If this story moved you, please share it with someone who needs to be reminded that courage comes in many forms and heroes work in every profession. Subscribe to our channel for more stories about ordinary people who do extraordinary things when circumstances demand it. And remember to thank the quiet professionals who keep your community safe. You never know what battles they've already fought or what skills they carry in service of others. Sometimes the most important wars are fought not on distant battlefields, but in small-town banks, where everyday heroes stand between danger and the people they've sworn to protect. Sometimes the greatest victories are measured not in territory gained, but in innocent lives preserved. And sometimes the truest warriors are the ones who hang up their combat gear and put on a different uniform, but never stop serving those who need them most.